All right, so thank you for jumping on today's webinar. So today we're going to be talking about understanding and using Google's new Performance Max campaigns. So the goal of this session is to teach you how Google's Performance Max campaigns work and the different ways that you can use them. And we're going to show you how to boost your leads, improve your SEO, and make sure that you understand the important nuances when setting them up. At the end of this, I'm going to do a live demo of actually setting up a Performance Max campaign. It'll be a quick and dirty version of it, but you'll get the idea, and I'll also talk about those nuances like I said. So on today's agenda, we're going to talk about Google's mission because it's important that you understand this as it relates to Performance Max campaigns. We're going to talk about Google's network system. So Google has an extensive network that they show ads on, and that is what Performance Max is using to drive costs down. Then we're going to discuss very briefly top of funnel versus bottom of funnel marketing, and we're going to talk about how Performance Max works, how the whole system is working. We're going to talk about lead quality expectations. We're going to talk about how to get the best results from your Performance Max campaigns, the SEO benefits that come along with them, and then maintenance. So what do you actually have to do to maintain these campaigns? So is this the holy grail? You've seen a lot of hype and there's been a lot of exciting news about this. Google has hyped it up for quite some time. And the answer is no, it is not the holy grail. There is no holy grail when it comes to marketing. There is no magic system. There is the traffic that you can generate and the methods that you use to convert that traffic to leads. There is always a trade-off being made between cost and quality. And cost can come in the form of effort, meaning like you have to nurture the leads, or you have to pay a lot of money and you'll get higher quality leads or lower quality leads. That relationship always exists. It's an evergreen idea that will never change. And if you do find a system that is amazing, chances are the cost will go up because everyone will jump on board. So that's just how these things work. So let's talk about Google's mission. So Google's mission is to provide the best answer to a user's query. So when someone searches for something on Google, when they ask a question, Google has made it its mission to serve them the best answer possible. And they do this with organic listings and they do this with ads. Because if people did not find the answers that they were looking for on Google, they would stop using Google. So Google takes this very seriously. They have to be a quality resource. So in order to rank, you have to provide good answers to people's questions. Now, Google's second mission is to make as much money as possible while still delivering the best answer possible. So they're very good at monetizing their ability to deliver answers to questions. That's why Google is worth so much money. So what is the source of Google's power? And you can see this guy over here. His name is Thanos. He's the big bad guy in Marvel's Infinity Wars. He's pretty much Google. He's the most powerful being in the universe, and the power comes from his little Infinity Gauntlet over there. And so what is Google's Infinity Gauntlet? Google has a dynamic that no other platform has. People come to you versus you going to them in Google's dynamic. So in short, Google owns intent. So what that means is when people have a need, they go to Google. And it's super powerful to have this ability to put your ads in front of people when they already have intent. And so Google has found new ways to harness that intent across their different networks. So when you think of Google, you typically think of when you search on Google, meaning Google search. There are many other networks inside Google's system that I'm about to show you. So these are Google's networks. At the top there, the little G symbol, that is Google Search. So that is their main network where people go when they're searching for answers. The next one to the right of that, the little green spreadsheet looking thing, that is the display network. Now the display network are banners and those types of ads that you see on the sides of news websites or any of the websites that you go to where there are ads on the top, on the right, at the bottom. All of those are banner ads and they're powered through Google's display network. The one below that, the little location, that is Google Maps. And so Google Maps are very powerful. And again, this is linked to your Google business profile. The one in the bottom center is Gmail. So believe it or not, they do run ads on Gmail. Whenever you log into your Gmail account, you'll see a promotions tab or two ads at the top. Those are your typical Google Gmail ads. And then to the left of that is your discovery network. And what this is, these are ads inside of apps and games and other things like that. And then you have YouTube, which is the second largest search engine. YouTube has ads, whether it's before the video you're about to watch, in the middle of the video, or at the top right-hand corner. So those are all of Google's networks that they're using in Performance Max to deliver ads across their network system and hopefully target your ideal customer on the right platform at the right time. So this is how you can understand Google's network system. And I've broken it up into two separate sections, one of meeting a demand and one of interruption-based advertising. And the intent of the traffic is decreasing as we go to the right. So meeting a demand is where people are coming to you with a need, and you're just simply showing them their ad at the right time, or your ad at the right time. And so this is done on your traditional Google search and Google Maps. So whenever you search for attorney near me, or divorce attorney near me, or child custody attorney near me, I'm going to use divorce in all the examples because it's easy to understand. Your ad will show, and they can click to your website and then hopefully call you. Same in the maps. If I search for a divorce attorney near me, all of the Tampa attorneys are going to show up, and I'm going to choose one in the map pack if I want to use the maps. Now, when we go to the right of that bar, we get into interruption-based channels. And what I mean by this is you are doing something else when you're on these channels, and an ad is being placed in front of your face and it's interrupting you. Now, that's not a bad thing because hopefully you're in market for a divorce attorney, but you didn't go to that platform looking for a divorce attorney. So for instance, if we're on YouTube, right, and I'm watching a music video, I'm not necessarily looking for a divorce attorney. I'm trying to watch the music, or I'm trying to watch a music video. And then boom, I see a divorce attorney's ad. Or I'm on YouTube and I'm trying to figure out how to cook some scallops because that's what I plan to do later. And then a divorce attorney's ad comes up, and now I'm sad, and now I have to watch my scallop video, whatever, you get the idea. Same thing with display. When I'm looking at the news channels, right, CNN or Fox News, and I see ads on the right-hand side or at the top, I'm not there to find an attorney. You get the idea. These are all interruption channels. So the intent of the platform decreases as we go to the right. When you're all the way to the left, people are looking for your services. When you move to the right, people are no longer looking for your services. They might need your services, but they're not looking for them actively on those platforms. And so these are all the networks that they're going to use. So Google has this really cool graphic that we did with our Premier Partner team. And the Premier Partner team is just a team that we work with at Google, and they work with 3% of the agencies once you've met certain requirements. And they have this graphic to show you that people will take 10 touches before they actually become a customer. And so this little graphic shows a car driving up and down the mountain, and each one of these dots is a touch point that people can experience across Google's network system. So people don't buy in a linear fashion all the time. Sometimes it takes reminding and seeing you again and again and again. So in this example, first they see you on YouTube, then they see you on the display network, then they see you on Google search, then they see you on YouTube again, then they see you on display network, and then they see you on Google search on a mobile device, and then finally they decide to buy. And so the purpose of the graphic, the reason I put it in here, is to show you that when you're harnessing all these networks, it can be very, very powerful to get in front of your ideal customers because they're seeing you everywhere, and now you're omnipresent, and eventually they're like, oh my gosh, people are everywhere, let me just call them. Or they're like, oh my gosh, people are everywhere, I hate these people. But you're at least getting some sort of reaction for them to either take action or get off your list, ideally. So now that we've talked about the networks and you understand that, I want to talk about the marketing funnel itself. Now, the marketing funnel has 3 different phases. There is tofu, or top of funnel. There is mofu, or middle of funnel. And then there's bofu, or bottom of funnel. And each of these represents a stage in the buyer journey. So at the top of the funnel, people are not aware that they have a problem yet, or they're starting to become aware. And so these are people who are starting to think, okay, I'm not really happy in my relationship. Maybe I want a divorce. They're starting to get in that mode. Middle of funnel, they're starting to consider ways to solve their problems. And then bottom of funnel, they're deciding, okay, I need to hire an attorney. And so the reason I'm talking about the marketing funnel is because at the top of the funnel, usually interruption-based channels are used to market to people in this phase. And this phase tends to be cheaper from a cost per click standpoint and a cost per lead standpoint. And so a lot of people like top of funnel because you can get cheaper leads, you can get a lot of impressions, you get a lot of clicks for a lot cheaper. The bottom of funnel, these are people ready to do business, but they tend to cost more to put your ads in front of them. So Google search is a bottom of funnel type marketing channel where they're searching for an attorney, you're putting your ad in front of their face, and they're ready to do business. But the leads cost a lot more. At the top of the funnel, maybe they're downloading your ebook on the 5 ways to get through divorce without spending a fortune, but they're not ready to do business yet. Maybe they're going to read your ebook, maybe they're not, but it only costs you $10 to get them to download your ebook. So you can see the difference here in the different phases. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because the networks at the top of the funnel are much cheaper to show ads on. So just understand that concept. So what do Performance Max campaigns do, and why do we care? So Google is now using bottom of funnel intent and all of their data to target bottom of funnel leads on top of funnel mediums. So that is why leads can be so much cheaper. And there is a but to this, and I'm going to explain that but in a little bit. So just to reiterate what I said there, Google is taking people who are ready to buy and showing them ads on top of funnel channels because it's cheaper to show them ads there versus showing them ads on Google search. So that's a huge deal because in theory, we're targeting buyers on very, very cheap channels. All right, so this is how they're balancing lead cost. So what do we know? It costs more to target people on search, aka people Googling divorce attorney, than it does to target people browsing on various sites like YouTube or Gmail, etc. How much more does it cost? So to give you an idea, for divorce attorneys, the average search click can be anywhere between $15 to $25. In some cases, it can be more. So that means every time someone clicks your ad, it costs you $15. Now on YouTube, every time someone decides to click your ad, it can cost you 50 cents to $1.25, which is significantly cheaper. All right, so you can see the difference in the cost between the networks. So what if you could target the same people searching for a divorce attorney, aka a bottom of funnel lead, but you're targeting them on YouTube, aka a top of funnel medium? All right, so what you're doing in this case is you're creating an audience of people who we know are searching for a divorce attorney. And in this example here, I have a big audience of people, and there's a few people raising their hands saying, I need a divorce attorney, I need a child custody attorney, I need a divorce attorney. And we're creating an audience out of all those people. And we're going to call this our custom audience. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use that custom audience to show them ads. And so we've compiled a list of people. We have an audience, and now we're going to force those people to watch our ads on YouTube. And I know it sounds bad, we're forcing them, which is why I have this ridiculous graphic from that movie Bird Box. But what we're doing is we're taking all those people and we're going to make sure that they see our ads on YouTube because we know they want a divorce, and we're going to pay very cheap prices to show them ads on YouTube. So this is what we're doing. We are stitching together intent with cheaper mediums to hopefully bring down our lead costs and still get qualified leads. This is what Performance Max is doing. So the summation of this is we have the ability to target qualified prospects with cheap advertising mediums. This is in an effort to keep lead quality up and costs down. Now again, I said there is a but to this. This is not a perfect system. The theory is sound, but there are times you will get crappy traffic in the mix and the lead quality will be bad. So why does this happen and how does this happen? It's important that you understand this because, again, it's not a magic system. You need to understand and have the proper expectations when it comes to running this campaign. So the source of the top tier traffic in this whole entire equation is from Google search. But there is a finite amount of traffic out there because there are only so many people searching for your service in your area at a given time. So Google has to mix in lower quality traffic to make sure that your ads continuously serve, right? They're not just going to stop serving your ads and save you money because remember, Google's mission is to make as much money as possible. So they want to keep serving your ads because every time they serve your ad, they make money. So I'm going to tell you a little story about a friend that I have in the DEA. And he's in the DEA, so we talk about all kinds of cool stuff, and we talk about, the different drugs that he busts people for, the drones that he's flying, all kinds of cool stuff. But there is something that drug dealers do that technically Google is doing sometimes, and it's not a bad thing. It's not drugs, okay? So what some drug dealers will do, right, is they have a pile of drugs, let's say, that is super, super powerful and super potent. It does the job very well, but they only have a little bit of this pile of drugs, right? So they have a ton of buyers out there that want the drugs. So how are they going to satisfy all of that demand with their little pile of drugs, right? They can't. So what they do is they take a bigger pile of drugs and then they mix them together. So this now mixture is still potent enough to do the job, but it's not as potent as it would be if it was a finite amount. But remember, they have a lot of people to satisfy. So they mix these two together, and now the people out there are getting this mixture of really good drugs and not so good drugs, but they're getting satisfied with the quantity that they wanted. All right, so this is what drug dealers do to make more money, and this is the same thing that Google is doing. All right. So the mixing of sources equals great leads and not so great leads, but cheap leads. So if you think about the two piles of drugs, it's going to cost a little bit less because they're not selling it for top tier amount and they're not selling you the really cheap stuff. They're selling you a mixture, so you're going to get enough of what you need, but it's not going to cost you as much if you were buying the really, really good stuff. All right, the same exact concept holds true for these campaigns. The really, really good traffic is on Google search, but it's expensive. The really, really bad traffic is on the interruption-based mediums, but it's not so good traffic. So they're mixing them together so you get good leads, bad leads. You're still happy because you're making enough money off the good leads. And Google's happy because they're making enough money because now they're mixing the two sources together, right? So this is how it works. So in this graphic, again, all the way to the left, you have Google search, you have Google Maps. These are the expensive leads. And then all the way to the right, you have Gmail, Discover, Display, and YouTube. These are the cheaper but lower quality leads. And so it is a compromise that you're dealing with. This will help you with your expectations of the campaign. You're not going to get amazing leads every single time. You're going to get some good ones. You're going to get some bad ones. All right. So this is a really, really great example of the cost, right? So you don't want bad leads, but let's see how much they cost first. So in this example here, I have two different divorce campaigns. One is a search campaign, meaning the top tier traffic, and one is a performance max campaign. And both of them got 13 leads. The top example is our search campaign. And you can see that the number of conversions is the number of leads. So we got 13 leads, and the cost per conversion is the cost per lead. So it's $86.37 for a divorce lead coming from the search network. Now, the same lead cost for Performance Max was $14.80. We still got 13 leads. So it was significantly cheaper than the search lead. But again, we're mixing really good leads and really bad leads, so the quality is not as good, but the cost is significantly lower, which makes up for it. All right, so this is a really, really good example of how powerful this campaign can be because the leads are so much cheaper. So what kind of signals does Google look at to create an audience, right? So why is there traffic that's really, really good and traffic that's not so good? So Google creates all of these audiences with different things, and I'm going to show you that in the live walkthrough, the main audiences that we use. But the first one is search traffic. So people who are searching for a divorce attorney, they can create an audience off that. Now, within search traffic, there are different tiers of traffic types. So the major ones are service keywords, brand traffic, and competitor traffic. Now, what does this mean? So service keywords are any keyword that actually has the service in it. So divorce attorney, divorce lawyer, child custody attorney, family attorney, prenup attorney, right? Those are all our services that we're going to perform, and they have the word attorney attached to it, so they're high intent. Now, brand traffic would be your firm's name. So the law firm of Elliott Alicia. If someone searches that, I can show them an ad, believe it or not. And so a lot of times you can buy your name as the attorney because people will search for you, and you can buy your firm's name, and this is what you call a brand campaign. And all you're doing is you're making sure that when someone is searching for you, not only will your organic listing be at the top, hopefully it will, but also your ad will be at the top just in case competitors are buying your name or just in case you don't rank for your own name yet. This can happen. So brand traffic is a way to make sure you're capturing your own traffic because it's yours. Now, the opposite of that is competitor traffic. In some cases, people will buy your name. Your competitors will buy your name and show their firm's ads to try and steal traffic from you. Now, it's a scaling technique. It's not the best technique in my opinion because a lot of times when people are searching for your firm, they want to talk to you. They don't want to talk to your competitor. Or they're an existing client of yours and they don't want to talk to your competitor. So money can be wasted. Again, it's not the highest intent type traffic you can get. But a lot of people do run competitor campaigns. And the reason that Google will show your ad for your competitors sometimes is because contextually you are similar to your competitor. You're a divorce attorney, they're a divorce attorney. Let's just throw them in the mix and show ads for both of them because they're looking for a divorce attorney. And so those are the main types of traffic that can build an audience. Now, the next type of audience is a custom intent audience, which is the audience that we talked about earlier. This is an audience where people are searching for your product or they have an interest in your product and you can create an audience off of them. The next type of audience is a life event audience. So this is someone who is going through retirement, they're getting married, those types of things. And so you can show ads to people based on their life events. You're probably wondering, how does Google know this? Well, it's all based on your search behavior and your browsing behavior. They know all the sites you're visiting, and so now they know what's happening in your life. Then you have demographic data. So this is things like your age, your gender, your parental status, your income levels. You can toggle all of those different things in this campaign. And then you have your data. So if you're running Google Ads now, Google is keeping track of all of the leads that you're getting and what those leads look like. So they're storing all of that information in your account. And then what they can do is go find other people that look like the leads that you're getting. And in theory, the leads that you're getting are working. So they just go find more people like that. So if you're already training Google to understand what your leads look like and what your ideal customers look like, it's very helpful because your ads will do that much better because you already have a history with Google. They already have a bunch of data on what your ideal customers look like, and then they'll leverage that data to go find more people like it. So super powerful stuff there. So how do you get the best results out of these campaigns? It is ideal if you're already running Google Ads for the reason that I just talked about, because they're going to use your existing data to help target people or to target people that look like that data. And so they're just going to find you more of what you're already getting if you're having success with it. So that's one way to make sure you're getting the best results is first start with Google search, make sure you know what you're doing there, make sure the keywords are working. Once you're converting that traffic into paid cases, then you can start to run these types of campaigns. The other thing that you need to do is fill out as many assets as possible. So when Google builds ads for this campaign, they actually build them dynamically. And the reason they do that is they want to serve the best ad to that person possible. And so they look at that person and they decide, what is this person going to respond to? I'm going to show them this image, I'm going to show them this headline, and I'm going to show them this video. And they do this dynamically every time someone is shown an ad. It's an automated way of building ads. And this didn't used to be very effective years ago, but they're actually really good at it now. Their automated ads are really good. So when you give them a bunch of opportunities to mix and match things, it just helps their algorithm. So they want you to have a bunch of images. They want you to have a bunch of headlines. They want you to have a bunch of videos. So they have flexibility in building the best ad possible for the end user. And this will make more sense when I go through and actually build an ad and show you what it looks like. So now we're going to talk about the SEO benefits of these campaigns. So this is a super high level explanation, but in order to rank for SEO, you need to get quality interactions on your website. And Google measures people taking action on your site to determine if it's a quality resource, and that is how you climb the rankings. So remember Google's mission. They want to serve the best answer possible to a user's query. And so if people are spending time on your site and they're returning to your site and they're constantly on your site, you must be a good resource for the information on your site. And this is how they determine that, hey, this guy's doing a great job. There's a bunch of people on the site. They spend 5 minutes there every time they go there. Let's bump them up the ranking. And then they give you a thumbs up. Now, traditionally, what we would do to get people to someone's website is we would sponsor pages on their website using Google Display and Facebook traffic campaigns so we can kickstart those interactions. Because the idea that if you just build a site and people will get to it, that's really not true anymore. It'll happen over years and years and years. But if you want to kickstart your rankings, you need to start putting gas into your site and getting people on there and forcing those interactions. So I like to compare your website to a Lamborghini, right? It's an awesome car, but if you don't have any gas, the car is useless. Your website is the same exact way. If you have an awesome website, but you have no interactions on there and no traffic, your site is pretty much useless and it's not going to climb the rankings quickly anyway. It could take years. It'll eventually climb, but it's going to take a lot longer than you want it to probably. And so if Google needs quality interactions to rank, but you don't rank, then how do you get quality interactions? It's a little bit of a conundrum there. So what we do to make sure that this happens is we use PPC and traffic to jumpstart this cycle here. And so I'm going to talk through this cycle really quick. And this is how you get gas in the Lamborghini. So PPC or performance max campaigns or search campaigns is the traffic that we're going to use. What this traffic is going to lead to is new clients and also people coming to your website to become leads. Now, new clients are going to lead to reviews and interactions on your website. They're going to consistently come back to your site because they need to call you or they're going to read about you or they're going to do something on your site. The reviews are going to help because that's going to increase your Google business profile and that will lead to more visitors to your website organically. Now, from there, as you're getting reviews and interactions, this is going to lead to higher rankings. So now Google is seeing that you're starting to get interactions on your website and they're going to start bumping you up the rankings. Now, as they bump you up the rankings, this is going to lead to more organic traffic and more leads. More leads will lead to new clients, and then new clients will lead to more reviews and interactions, and then higher rankings, and then more organic traffic. And it's a flywheel. This will start to really, really take off over time, or a snowball effect. So you can see how powerful it is to jumpstart your SEO with a campaign like this, because the traffic is so cheap, so we're willing to pay for it, and we're going to get a whole bunch of users to our website. So that's another value of the Performance Max campaigns being cheap. We can use those campaigns to drive people to our site to boost our rankings and boost our interactions. All right. So now that we have all of that information, right, we're going to go through and actually create a Performance Max campaign. And I'm going to tell you about the nuance that you want to include or not include, depending on if you're doing this for leads or you're doing it for SEO purposes or both. So I am in our Google Ads account here, and this is what Google Ads will look like. I'm going to enlarge this a little bit. And I'm not saying that you can go through and create this yourself. You can off of this video. These campaigns are relatively easy to create. But what I want you to do is just see what the potential is, what's out there, just so you're informed and you're an informed buyer if you are looking to have a marketing agency work with you. So we're going to go ahead and create a new campaign. And our goal is going to be leads. And here you're going to choose which conversion goals to include in here. And so you have to have tracking set up in your account, and things that we track are form submissions, so people filling out the contact form, or phone calls or chats. In this example here, there's purchases. I don't want to include purchases in this campaign, so I'm going to remove this goal from my campaign. And then we have this other here. I don't want to have that in there either, so I'm just going to remove it. So the only two interactions left are contacts. So these are people calling my site, so you can see phone call there, and then these are people submitting lead forms. Those are the two actions that I want to optimize towards. I don't want to optimize towards anything else because those are my money actions. Those are leads reaching out to me. So if you have things like page views as a goal or as a conversion, it's just going to send a bunch of people to your site to look at your pages, which is not what we want. We want to optimize for leads always. So we're going to hit continue here. And now it's going to ask you what type of campaign do you want to create. So if you were creating a search campaign, you could do this: display, shopping, discovery, video. But what we want to do is do performance max. All right. And we're going to name this PM example. And we're going to hit continue. And I'm going to start a new campaign. All right, so now for the average budget that you want to start with, I recommend starting it a little bit lower than your other campaign types. And if you never run any campaigns, I would do like $10 a day. I would keep it really, really low because we don't want to go crazy with a campaign that we just started running. Now, if you don't have a target cost per acquisition recommended by Google here, it means there's not enough data in your account yet for this campaign type. And so you can just have this set to conversions, and you don't need to set a target cost per acquisition. If they did recommend one, you could set one here and put in like, hey, I want to spend $20 a lead. That's what that means, is target CPA, target cost per acquisition, meaning $20 per lead that we get. But again, we don't want to do this. We're just going to let it do maximize conversions. And what this will do is that Google's automations will take over and try and maximize the amount of leads that we can get for our $10 budget. And we're going to hit next. And so now we're going to choose our location. So we're going to choose the United States. Obviously, if you're in a county, you can choose counties. You can choose zip codes. You can choose longitude and latitudes. You can be very, very exact with your location targeting. And then we're going to keep English as our language. Now, under more settings, these are where the nuances lie. For ad schedule, right? We don't want to run these all day because we want to be there to answer the phone when people call in. So I'm just going to do Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I would recommend doing your business hours, whatever they may be. And you can add complex schedules in here. So like if you have blocks or you have certain days off, you can do all that stuff. So we'll do Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And if you wanted to, let's say you're ambitious, you want to run on a Saturday, you could do that too. But we're just going to leave this for now. We're going to go to more settings again. Start date and end date. I usually just leave this unless you're afraid that this is going to keep running and you'll forget about it. You can set an end date if you want. Now, this is the nuance here, is this final URL expansion. And so what this means is if you have URL expansion on, Google will crawl your website, and depending on what the person is into at the time, they will serve them ads based on the URL of your website. And so if you're doing this for SEO purposes, then you can send people to different pages all over your website so that every page on your site is getting interactions, and hopefully you're getting leads off of those. Google's recognizing that traffic, and you're going to start climbing the rankings. Now, if you're doing this for lead purposes only, or you don't have a website and you just have a landing page, you can do it to URLs that are provided, meaning the URL in the ad only. So it's not going to go all over your website. It's just going to go to the URL that you provide in the ad, which I'll show you where we're going to do that in just a second here. Now, let's say that you put URL expansion on and you want to exclude certain URLs. So you don't want people going to your profile, for instance, or one of your attorney's profiles or your staff page, because that's not a whole lot of value. You don't want that page to rank necessarily. You can exclude those URLs here, okay? So those are the nuances that you want to take into account. So now that we have this on, we're going to hit next. Now we're going to name this divorce because we've been talking about that the whole time. So this is our asset group name. And now we're going to create our assets, meaning we're going to create our ads. So the final URL, this is that URL I was just talking about, is going to be www.empirical360.com, which is our main website. And we have URL expansion on, meaning that they can go to all pages on my website. So let's say that Google is targeting somebody that's interested in our SEO package. They may serve them our SEO page instead of this homepage because it's more relevant to what they're in market for, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to add images, and it says add up to 20 images. Again, if you want to be ambitious here, you'll add all 20. I just want to add a couple just for purposes of this, and you want to make sure that you do it for the ratios that Google is asking you for. So there's two different ratios. There's a landscape and then there's a square. And so I'm going to choose this ad. Let me back this down a little bit, make sure I'm not missing any buttons here. And I'm going to hit save. And so now it has two different images here. It has the landscape one and it has the square one. So again, let me show you that one more time. Let's say that I choose this ad here, select two ratios. I can select the landscape one, or I can deselect the square because this one's a landscape one. Or let's say I only want to do the square and not the landscape. I'll just do it like this. And so this is what you want to make sure that you look at. You don't want to have ads that are cropped off like this. You want to make sure that you're uploading ads in the correct dimensions so the ad can be relevant and obviously an effective ad. So that's a very important distinction there. So we're going to select this one ratio and we're going to hit save. Now, same thing with the logos. We want to add our logos, and usually a logo will be horizontal and a logo will have an icon. If your logo fits into one and it accomplishes everything, that's great. But ours is a long logo. So we have the landscape one and we have the square one for icon purposes. So we're going to hit save there. Now we're going to add some videos, and this account is linked to our YouTube channel. And so I'm just going to select a few videos here. These are just some testimonials from our clients, and these will be circulated. If I had like a how-to video or a about our services video, I could select that video and it's going to be a little more relevant. These are just testimonials I'm selecting for your benefit here. I'm going to hit save. Now we're going to add headlines, and remember, we want to fill out as many headlines as possible, and we want them to be relevant to the audience that we're targeting. So I'm going to put need a divorce, free consultation, and I'm going to go through and fill this out with all my different values. You have 30 characters to use here, and so we're going to do the same thing in the long headlines. These are now 90 characters, and I'm going to put need a divorce. And what I recommend is using all the characters you can. It's tricky sometimes to fit everything in there, but you want to use as many characters as you can under that 90 character count so your ad is nice and beefy and obviously relevant to what the person is looking for. Same thing with descriptions. We want to add as many of these as we can, and it'll give you the character counts for these. It won't let me do a duplicate. It's going to recommend some too once it scans your site, and so I'll do this. And then we're going to add our business name. So we're going to put Empirical 360. And the call to action, rather than having it automated, which you can do, you could do something like contact us, or you could do sign up. But for an attorney like yourself, I would say contact us will be more relevant because you want them to book a consultation. So we're going to do contact us. More options, you can leave this blank. This is for tracking or URL paths, so we're just going to leave that alone. And now we're going to actually choose the audience that we want to target. So we're going to add an audience signal. This is what they're calling it. And we're going to create a new audience. And now this is where we're going to tell Google, hey, everyone who's raising their hand asking for a divorce attorney, let's target those people. So we're going to call this divorce, raise hands. And now we're going to choose our custom segments. So we're going to create a new custom segment, and we're going to call this searching for divorce. Now there's two different audience types here. There's people who actually search for these terms on Google, which is the highest intent audience you're going to find. And then there's people with these interests, and we create both of them. So we're going to do people who search for a divorce attorney. And then you could do like divorce lawyer, divorce child custody, whatever you want to do there. Sorry, my computer's moving a little slow. Lawyer. And this is our Google search audience. So this is our highest intent audience that we can create. And now we're going to hit save. And now we're going to add another one, and we're going to do the people who are interested in divorce. So we're just going to check this one, people interested in divorce. And I'll label this interested in divorce. And then we're going to put the same keywords. and we're gonna hit save. So now that we have our custom segments that we're targeting, these are the people that we're going to actually be going after and showing our ads to across all the different network systems. You can also target your data. So this would be like your remarketing data, people who have been to your site, people who have converted as a lead, people who have got to your thank you page, all of those different segments that you can convert. If you don't have remarketing lists set up, I have videos on our YouTube channel that talk about those. You can also target interests and detailed demographics, and then you can target your demographics, which are things like gender, age ranges, and then you have your additional demographics here, parental status, and household incomes. All right, once you've decided all of your targeting options, you're gonna go ahead and hit save, and now your campaign is gonna be ready for review. Again, my computer is moving painfully slow for some reason, and we're gonna hit next. And then there's one more thing here. We're going to leave this blank. We're not going to do lead form extensions. We're not going to do site link extensions because this is going to use dynamic URLs. And if you have a call extension in your account, meaning if your ad shows on the search network, they can call directly off your ad. You can add that to your ad as well, just to beef your ad up. Again, most of these things are automated for Google, and we're just going to hit next. And now it's going to ask you to fix any errors you have. I have some errors because I didn't put all the headlines I needed. I'm not going to fix them for the purposes of this video. I would just go back to that section where I created my ad, add in the headlines, and then once this is good to go, I would hit publish, and then my campaign would be live. All right, so I hope this was helpful. I hope it helped you understand the way performance max campaigns work and the expectations that you should have around them. Again, it's not a magic system. It is a very effective system so far, we're discovering. It is a relatively new campaign type, but we really, really like it so far. It's a useful tool, again, not only for generating leads, for getting some traffic to your site and boosting your rankings. So if you found this video helpful, go ahead and leave a comment below. If you have any questions, leave a comment or email me directly. It's Elliot at Empirical360, and I'll see you on the next video.